Another crash damage heavy day of practice at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this afternoon. The last session that we have until Sunday's 106th running of the Indianapolis 500, and now 2 more of the 33 entries for this year's race of Scrambling and Gasoline Alley, trying to get 2 pretty heavily wrecked cars ready for Sunday afternoon's race. Started things off with David Malukas in an incident with Santino Ferrucci in turn 1. Malukas was on the low line. Santino, from what I understood, was coming out on the high line, was trying to make a pass, maybe didn't quite understand where Malukas was, or frankly that he was even there, and just turned down onto him. Malukas starts spinning, and that's all she wrote, frankly. Santino came out of there unscathed, but after he got out of the car, he did take blame for it, and he received a 20-minute penalty from IndyCar. Malukas was checked and cleared from the infield care center, came out saying he had a little bit of a sore foot, but beyond that, was feeling pretty okay. And we were waiting to talk to David, and heard an incredibly loud bang while we were at the infield care center, and happened to be Colton Herta, another single car crash, this time on the south chute as well, in between turns 1 and 2. Colton told us afterwards that he just got a little bit high, got loose, and that was it. He hit the turn 1 wall, and unfortunately his car then went airborne, flipped upside down, and he skidded a good portion of the way down the short chute on his roll hoop. Came out okay. He was talking to his team on the radio even before his car came to a halt, and the team got the car flipped back over fairly quickly. He got out of the car on his own power. He walked in and out of the infield care center, said he felt relatively fine, and Dr. Billows from IndyCar's medical team said that Colton passed his initial concussion evaluation. The next step he will have to go through, because it was such an intense crash, the IndyCar medical team will have to wait and assess the numbers that come back from Colton's accelerometer to see if he needs to undergo further, more, let's say, rigorous impact concussion testing to figure out if he is actually going to be cleared to drive for Sunday. So at the moment, he has been checked and released from the care center at, let's say, right around 4 o'clock Eastern time, but he has not yet been cleared. We are certainly hoping that that is the case, but we will have to wait for a further update in order to be able to confirm that. All in all, it had been a pretty quiet day of practice here on Carb Day at IMS. We got a little bit of a late start due to rain in and around the track this morning. Ultimately, they got started right around 1 o'clock. They were scheduled to start at 11 and go until 1. So they were scheduled to, in the latest update, to go from 1 until 2:30. So that's a 90-minute practice instead of a 2-hour practice. And then we're then scheduled to start the pit stop challenge at 3:30. That had a little bit of a rain delay as well, but nothing too serious. But right before I started taping this video, they were going through the initial rounds of that pit stop challenge. So I think we'll be able to get through that okay. But just a lot of really weird weather here today, and frankly, all of these last 2 weeks, or certainly most of it. We are looking like we will be pretty okay for race day on Sunday, but as you guys all know now from these last 2 weeks, Indiana weather can change on a dime. Now we have video interviews both with Colton and David Malukas moments after they stepped out of the infield care center. As I said before, both of them felt relatively fine and praised not only IndyCar's AMR safety team, but the safety of these cars and the safety of the safer barriers as well. But had some really interesting comments describing what these crashes felt like, some of the rush and the adrenaline and just initial surprise from flying into the wall at over 200 miles an hour, and from Colton's case, flipping over upside down. So here are those interviews.
Like annoying because like all the blood's like already rushing around the body from getting slapped that hard, especially to your head. And then when you hang upside down, it's just like even more. And you just want to get out of the car. You don't want to be cramped up in the car. So I wish that we had 2 cars like back in the day that were ready to drive. That would be fun to run right back out there. Physically, I'm fine. Mentally, I'm fine. But yeah, it sucks. The car's destroyed.
I mean, I just went in for a move. I'd say slightly on the late side, nothing too crazy. I went for a move on, I think it was Ferrucci was there, and held my line, and going into turn 1, I felt a little tap in the rear, went in and had no front steering, it was just understeering. And as soon as I put pressure on that right rear, it just spun round, which I immediately knew the tire was flat. And next thing you know, I'm backwards, and I went to mummy stance because I knew it was too late then. But yeah, really unfortunate. I mean, it didn't seem like I did anything wrong there. I mean, I just went for a move, and it seemed like he, I guess, turned down back into me. I don't know why he would do that, but yeah, that's about it.
And that does it for on-track action ahead of this year's 106th running of the Indianapolis 500. We've got Carb Day concerts going on later today. Tomorrow is Legends Day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We have a full field autograph session in the morning that I believe starts at 9 a.m. That is followed by the public open drivers meeting pre-race. I believe that starts somewhere around 10:15 to 10:25, and that then is followed by the downtown Indy 500 parade that goes through the streets of downtown Indianapolis. It's about a 2-hour parade. It's a great event. I would encourage you, if you are in town, to try and get out there. It's really fun to see these drivers off the racetrack, out of their element, get a chance to get a little bit up close with them, wave as they go by. If you haven't been to this before, we've got some great local bands, some great acts, and then eventually the 11 rows of 3 drivers will drive by in convertibles and be able to sit, weather permitting, of course, and be able to wave at the crowd. And that is the last time that we will see most of these drivers before they are on track and ready to get going for Sunday's race. But you have a chance to see a couple of them before the race. We are again hosting Indy Star's Pit Pass live show on Sunday morning. It starts at 8:30. You can watch it on Indy Star's Facebook page, Facebook Live, and YouTube channels. On that show, our sports editor, Matt Glenesk, and I will be hosting a show that goes about an hour and 45 minutes, and we will be breaking down every single row of the race, talking about some predictions, a little bit of a recap so far on what's gone on at practice these last couple weeks. And we also have a chance to do some great one-on-one interviews with lots of people in this series. We have a list that includes Mario Andretti, Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren Racing, Marcus Ericsson, Ed Carpenter, Doug Bowles, so a really great crew. Really excited to be able to have the opportunity to talk to those folks. And we'll also be meeting with our columnist, Greg Doyle, and talking a little bit about his experience around the track so far and what he thinks about this upcoming race. So again, that is 8:30 on Facebook Live and Indy Star's YouTube channel. Runs until about 10:15. We'll be right there in Gasoline Alley. If you're around, give us a wave, give us a yell. We love to see folks and fans and readers and subscribers out here at the track. You guys are the reason ultimately that we do this in the first place, and your guys' help and support is the way that we are able to continue doing awesome stuff like these Pit Pass live shows after every practice, and this Pit Pass live show that we have in Gasoline Alley. It's a really fun one. Again, 8:30, tune in for that. We will continue to have more stories throughout the rest of today and even tomorrow, finishing up our pre-race coverage of the greatest spectacle in racing, including some updates on the final details we get about these crashes, Colton's health, and then I have basically just a full race preview on some thoughts I have, some questions I'll be having going into this race, and some stats and potentially some historical marks that we might see broken here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Sunday. Again, that is it. Please give us all a follow. We will have all hands on deck on Sunday covering this awesome race. I, of course, will be here. My Twitter account is @by_Nathan Brown. We'll be giving updates, thoughts, opinions there throughout the race, and that will be where we post a lot of our initial coverage with 7, 8, 9 riders on the grounds all throughout the day Sunday, and then of course even into Monday as we finish things up here at IMS before we get headed to Detroit in just a week. It's amazing how time flies. So thanks again for watching this edition of Pit Pass Live. Tune in on Sunday morning. I'm Nathan Brown, the Motorsports Insider with the Indianapolis Star.